European war is not Canada's problem. Hundreds of miles away, the Nazis are taking over country after country. Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Austria slowly fall to the Nazis. The Germans can't stop and probably won't stop. While all this is happening, Canada is slowly getting out of the Depression. Britain and France, located close to Germany, are forced to deal with the Nazis, scared for their own lives, and join what starts off as a small conquest for Germany, but turns into a great war. The question is, does Canada have to join the war? 3 reasons why Canada should not join the war are that Canada has its own autonomy, Canada is still suffering from isolationism and depression, and that Canada is not in any situation to help in the war. The first reason why Canada should not participate in World War II is that Canada has its own autonomy. Canada no longer owes anything to Britain because of the Halibut Treaty, where they proved they could make decisions on their own, as well as the Statute of New Westminster, which officially declared them, as well as other countries, as British Commonwealth, rather than colonies of Britain. The Halibut Treaty took place in 1923, and what happened was a lot of halibut was being fished off the west coast. Canada and the US decided to negotiate a treaty to protect these fish. Let's sign this contract to limit fishing the halibut.
Well, don't you need the British to sign off on it too?
Nah, we got this. As you can see, this is the first time that Canada went behind the British's back to sign its own deal. Finally, Canada officially signed off on naming itself a British colony using the Statute of Westminster in 1931. This officially declared that the British didn't owe Canada. This shows that Canada really doesn't have anything to do with Britain. Therefore, Canada has no reason to back up the British going into World War II. Another reason why Canada should not participate in the European war is that Canada is just not ready. Canada is coming out of the Depression and stuck in isolationism, which is why Canada should not go to the European war. One thing that happened in the Depression was the stock market crash, infamously known as Black Tuesday on October the 29th, 1929. Many people invested money into the stock market in the 20s, thinking they would gain tons of money. What happened was the market crashed and all stocks lost its worth, therefore leading to stocks being worth nothing. People lost all their savings, and when you have no money in the bank for the future, you buy less. Businesses were not able to thrive, and without customers, they were forced to shut down. Around the same time is when the economy fell in the US, and since they had so many investments in Canada, we fell with them. With the US, one of the biggest economies and trading markets in the world, falling into depression, it triggered something called isolationism. To try to save their country, they used extra tariffs on products getting bought from other countries. People would realize how bad it would be to buy things with that extra tariff, so just stop buying all things from other countries altogether. To add to all these problems during the Depression, the federal government under Mackenzie King did nothing to help us, and instead forced provincial governments and municipal governments who just really couldn't do much to save their own community. Thanks, King. Depression and isolationism just puts Canada in a perspective where fixing our own country is way more important than meddling in other countries' problems. Canada has its own autonomy, is still suffering from the Depression and isolationism, and is simply put, not ready. These 3 reasons, with all the other details given here today, surely prove why the European war is not Canada's problem, why our country should not join the war.